Why are senior members of the Trump regime using the Signal app to begin with? It's a very damn good question. It's been asked already, but I'm going to dig into it a little bit, why they might be using it here in a minute. But it's interesting. I'm going to play a video clip here in a second. That the Project 2025 training videos, at least one of them, I'm going to show you a clip from here in a second, actually warned against using such apps. Signals is actually mentioned specifically, and why that might be illegal. Here's the clip.
You mentioned emails a lot, but Michael, what are other records? Do Signal chats count as records?
Yeah, so that's where things get really tricky as a political appointee, especially, for those who've never worked in federal government before. There's plenty of apps and other messaging platforms out there, whether it's deleting messages, encrypted communications, or whatnot. But all the agencies under the federal government are governed by certain records retentions policies. So you have to be careful with whatever agency you're working at, that you're following those policies. That's another way that political appointees get into trouble sometimes, is they're using these encrypted chat platforms or self-deleting messages, and they are, in some sense, violating the law by deleting those. Because if you're conducting official business, whatever communication was transmitted to conduct that official business, that's a federal record, and it needs to be properly retained so that someone can request it under FOIA.
Now, the three gentlemen that you just saw in the video clip, because their names aren't on the screen, the guy on the far left is Mike Howell. Who was he? In 2017-18, in the first Trump 1.0 regime, he worked in Homeland Security, specifically on oversight, government oversight. He is currently executive director at the Heritage Foundation, which produced Project 2025, which is why he's in the video. The guy in the middle is named Tom Jones. I mean, might as well be Smith, I guess. He is head of the American Accountability Foundation, which sounds great. It's not so great. He's a co-founder, actually. It's a conservative investigation group, very anti-Biden. In fact, I think they were formed in 2020 to basically challenge everything Biden was up to and trying to accomplish. Thankfully, they're mostly ineffectual, although they, I'm sure, were behind a lot of the bullshit from Trump. The third guy on the far right is named Michael Ding. He's a lawyer for the American First Legal group and a ardent Trump ally. So that's why all three of these Project 2025 guys are in this video. Now, the point that Michael Ding brings up, being a lawyer, was that using such third-party apps as a government official that don't keep proper records of what was discussed are actually against the law because, as Tom Jones brings up, you can't actually get through the Freedom of Information Act the transcripts, because they, in some cases, especially in Signal, because you could set the chat to disappear after a certain amount of time. It could be a day, a week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. And this chat that went on March 15th between all these guys, his war plan chat, was set, some of it for a week, some of it for like 2 weeks, 4 weeks, I don't remember from the article, but they were set to disappear. Thankfully, they fucked up and invited a journalist in who kept track of all of it and screenshotted it. Otherwise, we wouldn't know about this, right? And we would have no way to request this information for ourselves, or if we were trying to investigate what the regime was up to, we'd have no way to obtain that information. Now, this is precisely why I think they did use it. One of the reasons. One is they're completely incompetent idiots, but two, I think some of them are using it precisely because it doesn't keep a record. So this begs the question, how many fucking times are they using this thing? My guess is every damn day. To discuss all kinds of stuff. Who knows what it is, right? And I'm not going to speculate, but, you know, we've seen the kind of stuff that the Trump regime puts out in public. So you can just imagine what might go on behind the scenes where there are no records of what they're saying. It's dangerous. That's dangerous. But, you know, of course, this is an app that was their own people warned them against using because of its illegality. It's illegal to use it for government business, regardless of what that government business is, whether it's top secret or not, because it doesn't keep a record, a permanent record. And unless you send those records on to be recorded somewhere, which I guarantee you they're not, because the Trump and his cronies are anything but transparent. They always talk about transparency, but that's just a lie, like everything else they fucking say. So why are they using the Signal app to start with? My guess is same as before. They're stupid and they don't care about the law, and precisely are trying to subvert it because they don't want their conversations to be recorded permanently, so that they can then be subpoenaed at some point during an investigation, like is possibly going to happen about this thing. I was surprised yesterday that a couple of Republicans in Congress are talking about having hearings on this, which is a shocker. That they would even consider it. We'll see what happens, I guess. But that's one of the reasons they probably use this app, and probably use it all the time. There isn't a record of what they said. And they're just careless criminals, all of them. They don't care. They don't care what happens in this country. They're flying loose by the seat of their pants, just like they did in the first regime, first time through. And now this is even worse because there's no adults in the room anymore. It's all a bunch of little children pretending to play government. That's what we got. Hang on, friends. Fuck on. Live fearless.